Now, one of the most difficult jobs facing British troops right now is policing the Iran-Iraq border and tackling the gun smuggling believed to be going on there. It's dangerous and very difficult terrain, though how far Iran is part of the problem and potentially part of the solution is open to debate. Our diplomatic editor Mark Urban and camerawoman Julie Ritson became the first British journalists to film the sensitive new operation aimed at stepping up border security and bringing British troops right up to the Iranian frontier.
Across the Euphrates and over the marshes, a British helicopter follows the line of the Iranian border. The crew take care not to stray too close, for the frontier is one of the fault lines of the new Middle East. In Maysan Province, it snakes more than 280 kilometers through wetlands, desert, and the moonscape of Sib. We were flown in to meet the British Army's commander in Maysan, a cavalry colonel who now patrols the border not with heavy armour, but with squadrons of Land Rovers. On this morning, they were picking their way along a border track that had been devastated by the power of seasonal rains.
There was a blank area on our map, basically between two border forts. There was no link road. There obviously had been a major battlefield there over the Iran-Iraq war. And I felt that it might have been an area that smugglers could have exploited. We noted that it was a very difficult country, that the detritus of war made it very difficult to go off the beaten track, and the beaten track was split and damaged in so many areas. As we struggled to get 3 very capable cross-country vehicles through there, I think it would take a huge effort by smugglers to make their way through that terrain.
Recent history has seen the rearrangement of ties between communities on the border.
In 1991, a lot of people from Maysan went to Iran and came back in 2003. And those people have great kinship, and they have historical links also through their families and tribes with the people who live the other side of the line that we call the border.
For the leaders of today's Iraqi army, Iran remains a threat, one they believe is adding to their troubles.
The truth is that, unfortunately, the borders are not secure. There is no security at the borders, and the frontier posts are distant from each other. There are many weapons, drugs, Katyusha rockets, explosive devices and money that enter into Iraq from Iran, and so the frontiers are not secure.
Today, Iraqi and Iranian border guards eye one another with intense suspicion and occasional warning fire. There have been many accusations that Iran is feeding the trouble inside Iraq, but proving it, showing that they're sending arms and other support into this country is very hard to prove. And that's the purpose of these new patrols, to see what exactly is coming across the border. For the past 2 months, the British Army's Maysan battle group has been living in the desert. They move to keep their enemies guessing, and their operations are directed at the Iranian border and readying the province for Iraqi control. They've abandoned their former base at Amara, one of the most attacked places in Iraq.
We can continue to maintain and bring on the Iraqi army, and we can also have a decisive effect on the border. My view, my judgment, is that we're now delivering probably 5 times the operational output for probably about half or a third of the military effort in terms of people and logistic support involved.
Going light, abandoning their fixed base, called Camp Abu Naji, has allowed the British to move Maysan towards Iraqi control, an event expected around the end of this year. But it hasn't been viewed as an unqualified success by the Iraqi army.
The move by the British forces from the military base at Abu Naji has its positive and negative sides. The positive side is the reduction of attacks on the Abu Naji military base. Their withdrawal to more distant areas makes attacks by the militias on the multinational forces more difficult. But at the same time, the morale of the militias has increased to the extent that one of them has said they were able to defeat the multinational forces and send them outside the town.
Early morning brings a tide of humanity to Maysan's official border crossing with Iran. The customs officers appear ahead of the local merchants who come here to import goods from Iran. In a dusty pan of no man's land, Iranian fruit, veg and building materials have to be unloaded from the sellers' trucks and piled onto Iraqi ones. The vehicles themselves are not allowed to cross. Given the quantities, hundreds of trucks a day, the British are anxious to monitor what's going on here.
Salam alaikum. In my bones, I feel that some weaponry was moving through this province. Now, the quantity is the issue. Every single weapon, every bomb is a threat to the coalition and our soldiers. So one single bomb is enough to be too many. In terms of quantity, there is no definitive proof of what was coming through here or is coming through here. And we can try to prove a negative, try to prove nothing is coming through. But our presence, we have already noted, is making a big difference.
This month, a new, highly visible operation has started here, the aim being to galvanise Iraqi security forces and deter smugglers. They're watching the traffic, and on this day, the Iranians detained a truck carrying 250 kilos of heroin that turned about when its driver saw the new security checks. The mission here is now regarded as so important that the British are signalling to the Iraqis that patrols will go on even after the Iraqis assume control of the province. With the British having given up their main base in this province, the level of violence against coalition troops has dropped markedly, and local Iraqi politicians are demanding that Maysan be signed over to them as soon as possible. But the coalition in Baghdad consider this mission on the Iranian border to be so important that they will continue to deploy British troops along it. Away from the official crossing point, a trap is set. The British intend to use hidden observation posts to catch those scared off by high-profile patrols elsewhere. In this flat terrain, ground surveillance radar can be particularly effective.
A result for myself and for my troop would be basically information that we passed on would lead to an arrest of these people, or if we could intercept them ourselves if the situation was required. Again, so catching them red-handed, moving the stuff across the border, that would be a top result.
The force patrolling the Iranian border is spread thin, and to cover the large distances, it races along, making itself as visible as possible. But there are dangers here, particularly as the frontier is ill-marked, and the detention of 8 British servicemen by Iran 2 years ago shows the risks of an international incident. An emphasis on accurate navigation is paramount.
All our NCOs train and take courses in map reading, but this now really brings it home in empowering the NCOs to doing their job correctly. Now, we don't go out on our own. There's always a minimum of 3 vehicles, so all 3 commanders are all map reading.
Iraq's border forces are now building up their patrols too, being carefully mentored by the British. There is another risk to all this activity, of course, and that is that it finds a smoking gun of Iranian arms supplies to the Shiite militants killing British troops, something that could also touch off a diplomatic crisis.
I'm pretty clear that there is stuff coming in from Iran. I cannot put my hand on my heart and say it is definitely coming across that bit of border, but I had the Chief of Police of Maysan here yesterday. He is 100% convinced that it's coming across the Maysan-Iranian border. It's a big border. We are having an effect on that border. We may not have got clear-cut evidence yet, but there's enough intelligence to tell me that stuff is coming across that border, and therefore that the military effort we're putting into that to disrupt it is worthwhile.
With night falling in the Iraqi desert, the British put out their observation teams. As the political pressure builds for handover to the local authorities and further reductions of British forces in Iraq, this presence is likely to be maintained. The coalition's desire to deter Iraq from exploiting the situation here makes this too important a mission to abandon.
Mark Urban, well, here at home, one of the big long-running scandals in British political life is the